Darren, I think we'll kick it off. Are you ready for this?
I'm good, yeah.
I'm feeling there'll be a few more people sort of popping on at a later stage as well. However, I mean, everyone here we've sort of spoken to before. It is something that we put together because we just wanted to create a supportive community around buyers agents who are running solo businesses, who are wanting to just run ideas past and challenging situations and scenarios, whether that be with our buyers, whether that be with our selling agents, or whether that be, as Sheree just mentioned, just starting up and navigating, doing this part time, and how do we approach things. It's very easy to sort of come up with a plan and a journey, but we don't really know unless that plan and that journey is pressure tested by somebody or by others who have been there before and who have experienced it, and have gone through that journey before and say, hey, let me reach out to this person. So that's why we put sessions like this together. Obviously, Darren, an absolute legend in the industry. He's on the board of the REIQ. Myself, almost 2 decades in the industry, and close to 1,600 transactions. So it's kind of like sitting down, going and having a coffee with somebody, and just being able to run an idea past somebody. So this session, we haven't put anything together for it. It is more of a Q&A session. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of thoughts, there's a lot of theories going around in the market at the moment. Darren has very, very graciously offered his time. So we'll probably be here depending on how many questions and how many people jump in. Darren has very graciously donated his time. I've known Darren personally now for a couple of years, and he is somebody who he doesn't want anything from this. He just wants to see people succeed, and he loves sharing his thoughts, and he loves sharing his insight, and dare I say wisdom. There's a lot of that there. So yeah, like, Darren, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And yeah, like I say, it's been a few years now I've been doing this back here on the Gold Coast, and I absolutely love it. And it's one of those things, it's not my first radio. I've had quite a few small businesses, and I see chatting to people, not only do they have a lot of questions around the actual doing the job, the buyer's agent space, but also the business space of it as well. And that's where if you don't know, you don't know. And when there's a place to ask, you should definitely ask, because if you don't ask someone that's been there, done it, you're really starting again from scratch. And probably 90% of all businesses out there are literally just a copy of another business that was already successful, and people are just repeating the process that works. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time with everything you're doing, and it's about repetition of doing the things that do work.
That's a very good point. Mm. Okay, like let's keep it interactive. So if there's no background noise where you are, like, take yourselves off mute and let's have a bit of an interactive session. We're here to offer as much support and guidance as we possibly can. If you've got any challenges at the moment, or if you've got any questions that are top of mind that you'd love to, ask Darren or myself, feel free to just, take the floor, take the mic, or just raise your hand, and we'll get to you in due time. So yeah, let's sort of open it up. Anybody sort of, where do we want to start? This session is yours,
I've
effectively.
got a question if I can.
Hey, Alpha, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks very much for putting this together. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, mate.
Yeah, just a quick question to Darren, because as we know, it's a total mess out there with regards to banks ahead of time, protecting themselves and changing the financing criteria. So I've seen it over and over where people think they have a pre-approval, and then push comes to shove, the bank says, "Well, actually, you got $200,000 less. Sorry." So just wondering what you're seeing in the space. How many mortgage brokers are quicker to act and change their tactics, change LVR or any, or change to, not the big four banks, but rather, second, third tier and whatnot. It's just interesting to see what you're seeing.
So a good broker will never change their tactic. It'll be the bank that's changed it. So brokers will always use what's available to them. I don't know of any broker I've ever worked with that has gone and changed where they put a client for any other reason than external factors changing. So generally wouldn't be the broker that would go, hey, we can't get this LVR anymore. It's been a bank policy that's changed. And a good broker will always be assessing across a panel of anywhere up to 60, 70, 80 lenders. And in that space, they'll be making sure they can find out what works with the client. And then between yourself or whoever else is advising them in the way of an accountant and the broker, you need to sit down and be looking at the true cost as well. So there will be other lenders that might be a slightly higher interest rate that will still give them the borrowing capacity they need. And if those numbers work and the affordability for out of pocket works, they still have that borrowing power. But if it doesn't, that's when you need to reassess and basically go back to assessing them like a new client. That if they came to you with that budget the first time around, what advice would you give them and where you can put them? Because not everyone has $1 million budget or an $800,000 budget or a $2 million budget. So if you had a client that had, say, $1 million budget, and after the reassessments and the changes, they now have 750, you have to deal with them and address them like a 750 client. Doesn't mean they're out, doesn't mean they can't do anything. It just means their planning and strategy has changed and they have to work out whether it still works for them and what you can do for them at the budget that works.
I've taken a
Okay.
few notes there. Offer, is there a particular situation that has happened with one of your clients that
Yeah, so just to give an example, we
yeah,
had working with a couple. They're both doctors, well heeled. Were living in a unit. They wanted to buy property they can knock down and rebuild. They had a deposit of 800,000, and but they wanted to keep the unit, just not sell it. But that means that changes to a an investment property once they move out, and so the bank basically midway, because we're sort of in the process whilst the budget night sort of happened. And so one of the big fours just said, again, sorry, $200,000 missing here now. And there was quite a process of free fall and confusion. And we ended up having to change bank and LVR. So, we found a way to have the deal done, but not it was just, and I've seen this, I've heard of other incidents like that. I'm just wondering how common it is for just people who are, very well positioned to, get a good property, have a good deposit and everything, just but still get entangled in this mess. And yeah, but just
I
to see
think it
how
is
common.
very common offer, and a couple of things that well done in still getting the deal through, by the way. And
Mm.
just to sort of add a little bit to what Darren said, it is common, it is happening, but it's that the bank are looking at things from a completely different lens as they were in May. So they're assessing the clients different, which means they are going to come back with changes that they're either happy with to stick with or they're not happy with. As Darren mentioned, I feel it is just a case of adapting and making that shift, whether it be the clients in relation to having that conversation with them and saying, hey, this is how we're going to have to pivot. And it's either going to be okay with them or it's not going to be okay with them. And I feel that in these situations, there's always, I'm happy to be questioned wrong here, but there's always a way to pivot. Like it's frustrating when you're in the middle of the deal and then the bank says, hey, there's a shortfall here of 200K, but there's always a different lender that the broker could go to. There's always a different broker that we can speak to. There's always a way to pivot and adjust when we're in those situations. It's just whether the clients are happy and does it meet their current situation and their current goals. So you got it through with another bank?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's just a case of as you did. It sounds like you handled the situation very well. You adapted and you shifted. The broker made the adjustments needed and approached a different lender and got the job through. But this is, Darren, what do you think? Like, obviously, during this correction phase, once the banks, as I said, they're seeing things from a different perspective as they were in May. But now that all the legislation and everything's sort of intact, I think we're going to see less and less of these problems now moving forward. Would you sort of agree with that?
Oh,
Like it's that adjustment period.
yeah, anytime there's a change, some people adapt very quickly and nothing really changes for them, and other people freak and policies change and everyone's not sure. And you can literally get bank lenders that'll just go no to everything for a week because their bosses haven't told them what's yes. Like some of this stuff can really freak people out for a week or two and then it just goes back to normal. But I do have a couple of questions offer. The broker they worked with, was it your broker or a broker they already had?
As a broker, they already had.
Okay. Only reason I ask, and obviously I know nothing about this deal, but you said they were medical professionals, weren't they?
Yes, which of course brings about a bunch of benefits.
It just surprises me that they're even pitched with a big four bank from a broker being a medical professional to start with. And this is where, with anything you're doing in business, the team that you surround yourself with is very, very important because they are the ones that basically clean up the problems for you. And in the lending space, obviously, it's the mortgage broker you work with. And I've done a lot of deals in the last 3, 4 years, and very few times have we actually used the big four banks for them. So it's interesting when you're looking through and unpacking deals. Sometimes it's not that the deal's the problem, it's maybe they were actually with the wrong broker. Can be hard when the client brings the broker to you. But to give you an idea, 85% of all of my deals go through the same broker that works with me, not the client's broker normally. And that's because I
Yeah.
work with a broker that is exceptional and I know that they know what they can find and what they can do for clients. And obviously, I'm not a licensed broker. I know a bit about finance, but just a highlight to me is very curious of why to start with they were with a big four bank when they're a medical professional.
Yes, because I am aware there's, I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, there's banks that treat doctors much, they cater for medical practitioners, professionals much better than the big banks. So, yes.
It definitely highlights the reason to have a good team supporting you and working with your client rather than trying to work with lots of individuals.
I would 100% double down on that as well. Again, I've had no idea about how experienced the broker is, but having those right people in your corner, those three people, which is your broker, your conveyancer, and your building and pest inspector, they make or break deals. Now, to give you an example, I had a deal about 18 months ago, and it was up in sort of Townsville way, and the finance fell over. Client brought his broker to us, and it was a bit of a shaky deal, and the broker said, like, it's not happening. So we were going through Commonwealth Bank, and he said, it's not happening. It's a deal breaker. The client rang me up in absolute tears, says we're going to have to cancel it. As I mentioned before, there is always, 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 I believe, a way to pivot. I said, leave it with me. Rang up my broker, the guy that I've got in my team down in Sydney, and I said, mate, this is the situation, and broke it all down for him. He said to me, he said, how many days have we got? I said, we've got 7 days. He's like, easy. Put him in contact with my client and immediately got to work, got the deal through, and surprisingly got the deal through with Commonwealth, the same bank that the first broker couldn't get it through with. And I've learned a lot about brokers in relation to they have different tiers with the banks. They have different relationships with the banks based on their track record. If they bring them good and decent clients, that broker is going to be put to like the top of the pack in terms of being able to respond quickly, but also being able to trust as well. So again, I have no idea with this broker, but doubling down on team, having the right people in your team will make things so much easier. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Abdul's got his hand up. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. Colin, I just wanted to say thank you to you and Darren for having this session.
Mate, you're welcome.
Colin, sorry, Darren, I've already spoken to Colin about this when we first had our initial chat. So I'm an aspiring agent, and I like to think I've been, calling myself a BA for the last 8 to 10, 9 months. The problem that I'm having is the people that I'm coming across so I'm getting this on a regular basis, people that I chat to. So what do you do? What's a buyer's agent? We've never heard of that before. How can you help us? So like just getting that flow of conversations happening, and what Colin mentioned was, like it's not just happening to you, it's happening to other people in the game as well. So yeah, just wanted to, if you guys can give an insight into this.
Yeah.
I've already spoken to Abdul. He's got my side of things, so it'd be good to get a different perspective.
Yeah,
Darren.
Let's see if the perspective is different and how different people view things.
that's right.
Roughly how many people have asked you this? Like 50?
Look, so far, another thing I'm struggling with, Darren, is getting my name out there. So I'm a little bit different when it comes to other BAs. So I signed a franchise deal where I give a portion of my earnings to higher up. So I'm still my independent entity where I can do my deals out, like as in I can work with developers, bring in deals, work with other commission agents, for example. But the only thing is 15% of whatever I make. In return, they've provided all like CRM softwares. And obviously I don't have a lot of capital to start up with, getting all this done. I saw 15% as, drop in the hat versus what we'll make. But in terms of lead generation, like I'm just struggling to, like we're doing meta ads at the moment, and the leads that we're getting are absolute rubbish. It's just like people are like, oh, we don't know why we filled out the form. And they're like, oh, we weren't supposed to do that,
So that's an easy fix. The
Yep.
leads aren't rubbish, the ad's rubbish.
The air's rubbish.
The ad. If you're
ad, yep.
continuously getting huge volume of people replying to
Yep.
an ad that have no interest in the ad, there's something wrong with how the ad's set up. I won't deep dive too much into paying someone else to run your back end without knowing a lot more about it, because there needs to be a lot unpacked for that. But we'll go back to your original
Yep.
question of you're meeting people and they don't know what a BA is, and they're asking you
Yep.
that question. Say you
Yeah,
get
like
10 or 20 of these people a year. If you're
Yep.
running a CRM, have you got a pipeline in your CRM that says introduction to buyer's agent or new to buyer's agent or don't know about buyer's agent? Something, I don't care what you pull the pipeline, but essentially something along that line.
Yep. Look, the CRM system that the company provided is very generic, and these guys just got into the BA space, that's why they hired me. They said, we're getting into the buyer's agent space, and we like you to be on board with us. So and the buyer's agent is not really fit. Sorry, the CRM is not fit for purpose.
Do I just be blunt and honest here?
Yeah.
It sounds like they're clipping the ticket for doing fuck all. At the end of the day, you've got a prime example there of you're meeting people that don't know what a buyer's agent is. The
Yep.
answer to that should be, hey, fill in this or what's your email or whatever. I'll send you out
Yep.
some info. And they should be getting an email that explains what a buyer's agent does. You can have a quick chat to them and
Yep.
whatnot, but they should get out a book, a template, a video, anything from your CRM. And that should
Yep.
put them in a pipeline where they keep getting more info about how you can help them and how you can take away their pain points and what problems they have. And then every now
Yep.
and then you should be dropping them an email saying, yep, have you got more questions about this? Just reach out. Or do you need help with buying? Like literally, a lot of people are scared just to ask people, do you need the help?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
if you're getting people interacting with you that want to find out what a buyer's agent is, they
Yep.
should be in a pipeline that gives them information about how you can help them.
Yep.
Once they graduate from that, then you can move them to somewhere else. But every time you're interacting with someone like that, you should be able to
Yep.
provide them free education and information that helps them, that makes them realize you know more than them and they need your help.
Yep. So the key here is pipeline.
100%.
Yep. Okay. And
If
and I
someone
was
doesn't know what a buyer's agent is and has no
Yep.
idea what you do, the chance of selling them on one conversation right there and then would probably be less than 5%.
Yeah.
Hey, you'll get the odd person maybe, but really they're at a stage where they're interested and they need educated and they need to warm up to you.
Yep.
And that's where they need a lot of help in regards to your credibility, what you can offer, what you can do for them. And then
Yep.
you need to highlight what's painful for them and what pain you can take away.
Yep.
And that's
And
where, if you can niche it down, the better and stronger the message will be. If you're trying to
and
pitch that to too many different people, it is very hard because they'll all have different pain points.
Yep. Yep.
Abdul, can I ask a
Understand.
question? Like you
Yep.
said, they don't know what a buyer's agent is, but are they actually a buyer?
No,
Have we
Colin.
established that?
So because the leads that we're getting are, like some of them are, and this is another problem that I'm having, Darren. So we get the leads, but their numbers are, for example, disconnected. The number you're calling is not in service, or it doesn't call at all. And so to fix this up, we put a form where you fill it out. When you're looking to purchase in the next 3 to 6 months. So we've improved a little bit. Now the numbers are ringing, but there's no answer. And the people that I'm coming across that says this, oh, what's a buyer's agent, is people like face-to-face leads. So
Yep.
people that are, come through into community, like I'm putting it out there that I'm a buyer's agent, and friends or people in the community. And these are the people that are saying, what's a buyer's agent? How can you help us? And I tell them, like, this is what we do, from sourcing to settlement. We source the property, we negotiate a good deal, and save you some money in the long run if we can.
Those people, I would recommend you have the conversation with them when you have them, then do
Yep.
everything you can to get them to opt in or give you the email address for a pipeline where you provide them education on what you do through videos and emails.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
obviously keep warming them up till you turn them around. Very few
Yep.
of them are probably sitting in the space ready right now to go. In
Yeah,
regards to the leads you're getting online,
Yep.
what information are you supplied when you get a lead?
So their name, number, and email.
Okay.
So these are three things. And like when I said rubbish leads, like I don't consider them rubbish, because when I spoke to Colin first, he said to me, you don't have a lead problem, you've got a pipeline problem.
Yep.
And I realized, and because I'm new in the real estate game as well, like I don't know all these terminology, and I didn't know what even a pipeline is, and hence why I registered for this information session.
So there's
And yeah, like basically, I'm like, how can I say this in a nice way? Where I'm like, basically, it's all on me. Like I'm learning as I'm going. Basically, no help, and I have to listen to people that know more than I do. Yeah.
Well, we've got helps here. So
You're in
that's
the
the
right
WhatsApp
room,
chat
mate.
box.
Appreciate it.
You're in the right room for help. Now, there's a couple of ways you can attack it. If you're getting huge numbers of leads that you can't deal with, every one of them you could email and ask them a series of questions. A, you want their
Yeah.
phone number to confirm what it is. B, you want to confirm where they're at in the way of level of knowledge and what they're needing. And even ask a question, when is a good time to call or something like that. And the
Yep.
ones that respond, well, they're the first ones you ring. If you've
Okay.
got a small number of leads coming through, you
Yeah.
should be ringing every single one of them. Now,
They
if you
don't
ring
answer
them,
it, Darren, at all. They don't
yep,
answer. So as I said before, like the number is disconnected or the number you call is not in service. And to fix
yep,
that, we've put a question in there in the ad when they click the form. When are you looking to purchase? So the leads that are the last batch of leads that I've got, like 3 or 4 of them now, are the one their numbers actually ringing, but I'm getting no answer.
mhm.
So
So
what
with
my next? Yep.
them is if the number doesn't work, email the email and just say
Yep.
who you are. You tried to call them on this number, but it doesn't seem to work. Have I got
Yep.
the correct number? And is there a better number for me to call you on? Or is email better for you? And just wait
Okay.
for a response. If
Yep.
the number does work, but it goes to an answer phone, leave a message and follow it up with a
Yep.
text saying, hey, this is me. You've asked me to call you about XYZ. Is there a better time to call you back or I'll try again later in the day? Put in your
Yep.
diary or your CRM or your calendar or whatever system you actually have, depending on where you're up to, a
Yep.
time to call that number back.
Okay.
You can't ever do well in the sales industry if you ring a number once and hang up. You need
Yeah.
to keep ringing and emailing it. And a
Mhm.
lot of people will not answer a number that pops up on their phone and they have no idea who it is. So
Yep.
every person that you ring and they don't answer, immediate follow with a text message saying who you are and why you called them. And
Yep.
a lot of those will ring straight back, or they'll send you a message, hey, sorry, I'm in a meeting, or I'm at work. Can you call me after 5 or whatever? I
Yep.
also recommend calling every lead a minimum of 3 times, AM,
Okay.
PM,
Oh, you
and
want to yeah.
weekend.
Yep.
So if you don't get them during the day, call them after hours. If you don't get them after hours, call them in the weekend. Because you
Yep.
don't know the structure of that person's lifestyle to what is
Yep.
a time that works for them to answer the phone.
Yep. Yep.
After
Okay.
3 times, unless you've got no one else to shake, just
Yep.
put them aside as I've tried, but I can't keep calling the same person for no reason.
Okay.
If they
All
respond
right.
to your texts or emails, obviously you have to do with whatever the response is. But
Yep.
if you do that to every lead that you make contact with, your penetration rate will be a lot higher because they actually have a clue who's reaching out.
Yep. Okay.
Some
Okay.
really
It's
great,
good. It's good that now I've got this information.
there's some really great points there.
Yeah. Yep. Colin, did you have a question? I think you said you were trying to. I apologize. You was trying to say something before.
Sorry, bro.
I don't think, I, mate, I've just made a whole heap of notes on that myself, so I'm not really
Yep.
too sure. But yeah, like if you want to like get a little bit of my thoughts, there isn't really anything that I would add to that. Like
Yep.
Darren said, it's a numbers game, and one of the things that I took from that is we have no idea of the structure of their life. Like one phone call at 1 p.m. could mean that they're in the middle of something, and as soon as the phone call is made and that number goes off their phone, it's forgotten about and it's never gone back to. I think 3 times is a good amount of time to, be giving somebody the benefit of the doubt just to see if they are actually real and if they are actually moving forward. Another thing that Darren said there was, sending the email saying, hey, I did try the call today. This is me. I will try you again tomorrow at 1 p.m. or does 3 p.m. work better for you?
Yep.
And for those that are like disconnected numbers, it is probably an ad thing. Like the ad isn't strong enough in terms of them wanting to, like, they haven't got a pain point and say, hey, Abdul has just popped up here. He's able to help with guidance on my situation right now. That
Yep.
person is a genuine person is putting their phone number on.
Yep.
Like whether it's
Um,
that they've put in the wrong digit or not is another thing.
Yep.
But we
The
are
thing
meeting
is,
the buyer as well at a different point of their timeline. Again, what Darren said, like if we're meeting them cold and they don't even know what a buyer's agent is, the chances of jumping onto one phone call and that for them signing up is very rare. I always say we have to put them in the oven. We've got to warm them up.
warm them up.
And that is what the pipeline is. And there's a
Yep.
couple of areas that we have to warm them up with. Like this is if they are a genuine buyer. So the first thing we want to do is establish if they're a genuine buyer or not. But there's a
Yep.
couple of things that they need to have confidence in and how we need to warm them. And this is how we communicate with them, whether it's a phone call, a text message, or a weekly newsletter or a fortnightly newsletter. We talk to people differently in our pipeline depending on what stage they're at. So some people might come into our ecosystem from a meta ad and they might be 0 to 3 months away from purchasing a property. The way that we communicate with that person is very different to the way that we're communicating with the person that says, I'm closer to Christmas.
Yep. Yep.
So having those strategies in your pipeline, and I know it's tricky at the moment, as you mentioned, because obviously your database isn't necessarily set up for that. But mate, an Excel spreadsheet works fine as well.
Yep.
Like it really does. And just having all of those names there, because the couple of areas that they have to have confidence in is number one, in the market. Like there's a lot of
That's right.
media and all that kind of stuff in the market. There's a lot of clickbait. So for them to move forward, to go from a completely cold start to Abdul, you're the one for me, they need
Yep.
to have confidence in the market. They need to have confidence in their goals. Like what is their
Yep.
goal? Is it a family home? Is it an investment? They need to have confidence in themselves. So many people just don't have, they doubt themselves of whether this is actually a viable thing that they can achieve. Like, 'cause buying a property for some people is a very, very big, a big thing for a lot of people. So they need to have
That's right.
confidence in themselves. Then they need to have confidence in, do I need a buyer's agent? Like, as you mentioned, they have no idea what a buyer's agent are. That question is being thrown around a lot at the moment. It's like, what do I need a buyer's agent for now? Because the
Yeah.
urgency that was once in the market is now gone. So the buyers now
Yeah.
are looking for value, well-trained, experience, that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
then when they've established that, yes, I need a buyer's agent, why you?
Oh,
Because there's, hundreds of other buyer's agents. So those are the 5 things that I would say, like if I'm putting a pipeline together of all of these people, and those are the five
yeah.
things that I would say that is where we need to get the buyer confident.
And yep, that's totally understood. And Darren, in regards to what you were saying before, like the ads being not there. So this new marketing people that I engage with is recommendation from another BA. She's seeing a lot of success, and I actually reached out to her for help. I said, look, my current marketing people are not working, and what can I do to improve ads? And so she recommended me this marketing people, and I think that, like, I've seen a lot of success with them, like in terms of, their customers are really happy with them. And so in terms of marketing, I don't know what other tricks I can pull out of the hat regards to marketing, but yeah.
There's a lot with that, and this is a lot more than a 1-hour session to unpack. But to start with, this is probably gonna come back to the business side of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what a lead is currently costing you through them? To get one person's name, phone number, and email, do you know what it's costing you?
I haven't looked at the breakdown, but I'm not sure if that's really an estimator. So at the end of the week, like, they give me a report saying this is how your ads performed.
Yep.
So the 3 leads, just have a look. Last report was
I know right now
Yep.
you're not gonna know the answer to the next question.
cost per lead. So, like, they just gave me a KPI update. They go ad spend $407 for the week, leads 3. So that's from the new lead form, and it was 135 cost per lead.
Okay. Now, out of those leads,
Yep.
how many of them are you converting?
None,
One in
because I called them. I called them over a couple of days. I sent them a follow-up text, follow-up email saying, "Look, I've tried to contact you," and this is over a couple of days, Darren.
Yep.
And like I said, I haven't got any return back or messages or emails at all. And
So, again,
Yeah.
it's a lot more to unpack, but on the basic
Yep.
high level numbers that you've told me,
Yep.
you are going to go broke on ad spend.
Yep.
Because you have a 0% return currently on your ad spend. What you've got to be very careful with ad spend is
Yep.
you need to know what it's costing to acquire those clients. You then need to know how many of those clients you're actually converting, and then you need
Yep.
to know the lifetime value of those clients. Now, if you can't work out those numbers quickly and easily, you will spend an infinite amount of money on advertising and have no
Yep.
result. So there's a few things that need to be looked at is
Yep.
can get like 135 seems very, very high per lead. And if you're spending that on a lead, I would want a very, very high conversion rate of the lead.
Yep. But
Um,
these are the only people, like, they've, so 3 people in the last week or last reporting period has put in. We've got 3 leads, and they're from the new improved form. And like I said, so they recommend to call the lead every day for 5 days, follow-up text, follow-up email, and like I said, like, I've called them. I called them nearly every day. I've sent up a message saying, look, I've tried to contact you, email, and reached them out on Messenger as well, Instagram, Facebook. So and yeah, oftentimes they see the message but they don't respond, and that's what I said to Colin. I said, am I doing something wrong? Or so yeah,
It's hard because the problem is it's not you're doing something wrong.
yeah,
You're outsourcing everything without the knowledge of what you're outsourcing.
yeah,
And that's where I don't know what's actually in these ads and I don't know what they're doing. But at the moment, it sounds like
yeah,
it's not set up properly in a pipeline.
yeah,
It's not targeting the right people. And it's very, very high cost
yeah,
to get a lead into your pipeline. It sounds very marketing company that just basically churns through people.
yeah. Okay.
What I'll show you now, I'm
Yeah,
going to show you guys all on the respect that you do not screenshot it, you do not share it to other people, and I don't want it public information, but I'm comfortable to show you. So where are we on a button I want to use here? Share. You should all now see a meta ads page. Is that what you guys can all see?
Yeah.
yep.
You just said before you were spending $135 per lead.
It's $50, like $50 a day. That's the budget I set for myself. So, and yeah, like when I got the KPI report, that's what they said. So those 3 leads ended up costing me 135 per lead.
Those two numbers there, can everyone see those comfortably on their screens?
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's what I'm paying per lead out of Meta.
yeah,
Mine's probably a bit lower than most. Around sort of $20 is probably more common.
yeah,
But that there is what is targetable. At 135, I'd be wanting a pretty warm lead that's been in there pretty strong.
yeah,
And look, that's in the last 30 days. It's current data. And the lifetime from this, I'm not even sure if it's on here actually, the lifetime. No, the lifetime leads, I have to open another report. But very, very strong ads that keep working. So I keep pushing them. Now, the reason I showed that is obviously so when I'm talking about it, you guys just go, oh, anyone can make some numbers up. That's great. But I know I get a very high result from my leads because of the way I've set the lead magnet up. But
yeah,
those people are in my pipeline, and I know that there's very low input from me to stay in touch with those people. And
yeah,
I've set mine up in a way that the people that interact back with me are the ones that I call. Because
yeah,
if I had more spare time, I would obviously call more of them. If I didn't have a CRM because I wasn't getting that many leads, I'd be calling everyone and I'd be doing it off a spreadsheet, like Colin said before. I've still got
yeah,
templates for spreadsheets from before I had a CRM. But the problem normally for people is not actually getting in front of people, it's getting the right message in front of people and then continuing that message on till they actually want to have a conversation with you.
yeah.
We've,
Okay.
And
we've,
I
we've,
wouldn't want to be paying $135 to people that don't want to talk to me,
Yeah, yeah,
which is something we need to look at how, what, and why, and probably change that quite quickly. Or you'll be
yeah,
one of the people that will turn up in the future and go, ads don't work. I wasted so much money, yada, 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 and got no results. It's not ads don't work. It's the wrong ads and the wrong system doesn't work.
yeah, yep, yeah.
Correct.
And
Abdul, if
that's
it's
one
okay,
thing.
we've spent quite a bit of time on
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and I'm actually happy that we have done. No, all good. I'm actually happy that we have done because I'm sure there was
Yeah.
some real value in there, and there's a lot of there's a few buyers agents that have reached out to me recently having the same sort of issues. So, mate, I really appreciate you bringing that up, and hopefully.
Yep.
We've got enough information and education there. I've certainly taken a whole load of notes of, how I would be able to move forward if I was in that position. Did that sort of help, Abdul?
Yeah, it did. It did.
Cool.
Yeah. So from when we had the initial conversation, you said you've got a pipeline problem, and now Darren's saying you haven't got the right message. So that's what my focus will be: the right message.
Then the pipeline. The message comes
And
first.
the message comes first. Yeah, yeah. And then the pipeline.
Yeah, mate. Love your work. Keep it up.
Thanks, Colin. I appreciate it. Thanks, Darren.
Not a
You're
problem.
welcome.
You guys
Melinda,
are
I thought your hand was up first.
Hi, thanks for holding up this session today. So I'm brand new to being a BA. I'm still even waiting for my license to come through. So I've been waiting for almost 2 months for the government to process that, and hopefully it should be here very soon. But right at the very beginning stages, there just seems to be so much outlay and so much you need to do. Everyone's pushing different systems at you. So I suppose, want to break it down real simple. What are the must-haves for day one of trying to get your first client, basically?
Okay. What state are you working out of? What are you doing? Are you buying for owners? Are you buying for investors? Are you around Australia?
I'm in Sydney, So I was going to try and focus on Sydney or New South Wales to start with. I wasn't going to be too picky to start, but hoping more owner occupied to the south side of Sydney. Yeah.
I'm licensed in Queensland, operate in Queensland. So obviously we've got some different rules and forms. I'm pretty sure, but you'd need to check this from someone that operates in Sydney. You only actually need a buyer's agency agreement to operate in Sydney, not a
Yep.
Form 6 or anything like that, like we do up here in Queensland. So you'd need a agency agreement. Software wise, I believe you'd get away with minimum of something like RP Data or Suburbs Finder or any of them. They're all pretty similar. If you can partner up with someone or someone you can share one with, you're not meant to and you're not allowed to. But hey, I don't know. It's not my software. But if you can partner up with another newbie and half the cost, that's great. Just watch, because if you both log in at the same time, you get kicked out and things like that. But bare minimum would be that. A very good calendar system. At the end of the day, if you're not managing your time properly, you will get it wrong. Some sort of email system. Again, at bare minimum, you can work off Gmail and do everything manually at the start. A good spreadsheet to keep a track of where you're up to with people.
As your pipeline.
Yep. Your pipeline literally can be on an Excel or a numbers spreadsheet. You don't need a CRM if you don't have a lot of people to work with. If you haven't got the capital behind you and you're not going into ad spend and marketing and all those sorts of things, and you're literally going to do it by going groups, meeting people, being in Facebook groups, reaching out to your friends, all those sort of ways we can go down marketing channels that don't cost anything other than time. Generally, I would say you'd get away with a spreadsheet for a very long time of putting the people in it and manually sending out all those emails. Most of everything else, you're going to need to, unfortunately, now have the cost of being set up with some sort of anti-money laundering provider for your checks for that. A lot of
Yep.
them are
I
pay
think
as you
I've got
go,
that
though.
basically sourced. Yep.
Cool.
I'm
They're
going to
pay
do
as you
that
go.
through Vexa.
So you're using Vexa CRM or just Vexa?
I was just going to use Vexa for the AML compliance to start with,
Okay.
because that's free.
Do you not need their CRM to do it? I'm not sure. I haven't looked into
No,
this.
you don't.
Okay. So yeah, you've got that ticked off. I mean, you'll just pay per client, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And the rest of it's going to be your team, really. You're going to need a good mortgage broker, a good lawyer, a good building and pest inspector. Everything else you could do fairly manually without having those costs.
Right. What about a website?
I did over $500,000 in GCI last year, which is, for those that are new, gross chargeable commissions. Colin and I had a conversation
We
over
did,
lunch
yeah.
not that long ago of how shit websites are and how little work we've got from them. When
The
was the
thing- the
last
thing is that
time
you
you
have to
found a
have one.
website and went, I'm buying off that company?
I use websites a lot.
The very first time you find something and that's where you buy them from? As in services, not like if you look for an
research.
electrician, do you just Google a website and go, I'll use that electrician?
No, not specifically, no.
Service-based industries, websites are there to prove you exist. Look, for 2.5 years, I got away with a one-page website that was very thrown up. And this was before AI websites were really doable. Now you can make quite a cool website for next to nothing. All your website really needs is a bit of social proof on it, a bit about you, your contact details, and a way, if you are running a CRM, to end up in your pipeline of your CRM, and an email so they can get in touch with you. After that in Google Business, which Google Business is pretty much free as well, so you can get Google reviews and all that sort of stuff. You can do, like, let's just see if this will work. I'm not sure if it'll work because of where I'm based versus to me. But if I go Keen on property, it keeps going to my website, which is what I don't want. Keen on property.
Great website name, Darren.
Yeah, it works pretty well. You get enough of dealing with that name that you might as well use it. So I'll just hit the share button again. Now, I'm not sure how many of us on here, 10 or 15 of us. If you were looking at a business and you're thinking about using them, are you going to open the website or are you going to look at the 60 Google reviews?
Both.
Both? What's more important to you, though?
I usually look at the website first.
Yeah. A lot of people you'll find, and all these are where other people have said we're good to be used, but you'll find a lot of people would look at your social proof well before your website. The website
Right,
is just
okay.
basically proving that you exist. My website, we just spent nearly $15,000 on it to get it really flash and swanky. Was it worth it? I still don't know if it was the best idea that I've done yet. And it's got, the more important bit is that you can click book a consult, need more help, what our home buyers have to say. That sort of stuff is more important than anything on there. But all of these are actually Google reviews. The resources, this stuff's probably more important because this gets people into your pipeline. Giving them something that's free that educates them towards what they want, those sort of things are more important than your actual website itself. I find that is far more important, that you're actually giving them something. But website wise, I find this is more common.
Okay.
The quicker you can get your Google reviews up, the better. and it's not letting me look at mine because I'm actually logged in as me, unfortunately. This sort of stuff is important, that they're consistently there and they say why to work with you. And the other one is important, always reply to every Google review you get. A lot of people don't reply to them. It helps a lot if you reply to them. But this also brings up your website more often. So having a website, actually, I don't know if it'll work because it's me, but if I go buyer's agent Pacific Pines, all of these people are paying to be at the top, and then it doesn't actually pick up there's me there, more sponsored. So really, there's me there. Your website to be at the top these days, you have to be above all of that is paying to be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Websites are not the greatest anymore because everyone's got one now, and it's a matter of how much you want to spend on one. You should definitely have one, but there's definitely better ways of attracting people than just your website. I personally believe they're only there now for someone to check that you're alive and you're not going to rip.
Okay.
Can I quickly ask, Melinda, are you Class 1 or Class 2 license?
Well, I don't have it yet.
But what do you,
Class
what's your
one.
title?
I've got my certificate of registration through New South Wales.
Yep.
So that's already through. I'm now waiting for the Class 1 to come through Queensland.
Okay.
Paul's in Sydney as well, Melinda, and he's popped in the chat here as well. Happy to sort of have a chat with you because he's got cheap rates on RP data.
Yep,
And a few other
sounds
things.
good. Okay, thank
So
you.
it's always good to, and this is why I love these sessions as well. Obviously, to like part of the community, and we've got great people in here to support and. Being surrounded by good people, especially if he's in Sydney as well. But yeah, it's interesting, Melinda, myself and Darren had that conversation around the website. Darren, I've just got a follow-up question to that. Completely agree with everything you said. I personally, Melinda, and everyone's got a personal preference. You mentioned yourself, you always go to the website. I go straight to the Google reviews. I just want to know what other people are saying about the property, about the person and about the service. And I think a lot of people do now. A lot of people, we've found a lot of the time now on social media, or not always on social media. I know some really, really great buyers agents and they don't do social media at all. It's all buyer reputation, word of mouth and local people and things like that. But most of the time people are finding us now on social media and they're making the inquiries through social media. Darren, my follow-up question to you is, if you're just starting out, obviously you've just spent 10, 15 grand on your website, but that's only after you were confident that you had a business and that you had a service and that you had a following and a clientele and things like that. If you're just starting out and you just want it to exist, you mentioned there like all of the value adds, all of the ebooks and all of the everything and things like that. Just starting out, do you think those things are important, or just, throw something together just to show you exist?
Well, it's all relative to budget. The more you can do, the better.
Of course,
But
yeah. If you've got
if
100
you-
grand to spare.
Yeah, but if you're on a very tight budget, literally a made by GoDaddy or a AI website or there's multiple providers out there now that you can have a website up for about $500 or less. Anything like that just says who you are, what you offer, and your contact details and a way to email you is all you need. Business, no matter what, business when you're
Bless you.
first starting, no matter the industry, it's about proving that it works before spending money.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Lots
And
of
it's hard to
people-
prove it works because it's hard to set things up if you don't have the money to set things up, like to use your CRM and to be able to sort of do all that functionality. And yeah,
But you don't need a CRM because if you're not dealing with a huge number of leads and you're not dealing with a huge amount of advertising budget, you've got time. And time lets you call and text and email every single lead individually yourself by hand.
Yep.
So until you prove it works and you know that you can afford it, having all that extra stuff doesn't help you because you haven't got the budget for it and you're not putting the volume through it to just. Like I have a database now of close to 4,000 people. I'm not going to individually email every one of those by a handwritten email. But did I have that in the first 6 months when I first started? No. Did I need to have that many leads when I first started? No. Did I have the budget on ads or marketing or anything else I've done? No. But all of that stuff comes over time like a snowball. You start small, you do a little bit, and you do a little bit, and the ball gets bigger and bigger, and then all of a sudden the ball gets massive, and you're just taking bits off that you're then putting into more marketing, more automation, more pipeline, more management tools, more staff, whatever it is. But at the start, if you're not busy with clients, you should have a lot of time.
yeah, okay,
Time substitutes money.
Yep.
And a lot of the stuff at the start you can do with very, very little spend and a lot of manual input. The reason a lot of people don't get past that stage, it is hard work to put into a spreadsheet, email Bob again on whatever date in your calendar. And then on that day, you open your calendar and you've got to write Bob an email. Follow-up call Trish on whatever day. And because it's all manual, a lot of people don't want to do the hard yards to get past that point of having revenue to then pay for a system that does a lot of that for you.
Yep. Okay.
It's a really great question, Melinda. Thank you for popping in with
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How are we going? We're just on the hour mark. A couple of questions. Was there anyone else who had anything that they wanted to run past either Darren or I before we? Yeah, Mel, you've got your. Oh, sorry, you did have your hand up, didn't you, Mel? It was Melody, wasn't it?
Yes, Melody. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Darren, we've been in the same room some time ago in Sydney. Yeah, I remember you are from Gold Coast. My issue at the moment is that with the current climate and states behaving differently, behaving differently, I'm about to put offers on properties and I'm like, am I offering the right amount? Am I thinking the right pricing for that kind of property, knowing, the market is going down, there's less competition and so on. So basically, like, for example, like I'm buying in Gold Coast at the moment and I'm like, should I like just lowball it and see how it flies, or that offer the right price? How are you navigating like price guides with, demand not being there and real estate agents like struggling a bit more, vendors willing to be a bit more in discounts?
Now, this is a very hard one, and it's going to be deal by deal, and it's going to be in the negotiation process you pick up a lot. But not every person selling a home is in the same situation. So we're literally in the middle of negotiating on a property now that is a perfect example. I can see the wrong person will overpay for it because it's been beautifully renovated and yada, 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 but it's got some retaining wall issues, it's got some outside issues, and it's not really worth what they're chasing for it, but someone will pay that. If you win every single property you try and buy, I will guarantee you're overpaying. If you do not lose every now and then, it means you were the top dollar normally every time. Now, sometimes you can be really good at working out the deal and you can find the right properties at the right price and win them every time. Yeah, hey, you're probably 1 in a million. But at the end of the day, if you're not missing out on a few, you are generally overpaying. Now, in the Gold Coast, it's going to vary a lot. There are people up here that are finance to the hilt, everything is look at me, they don't have a dollar to their name, things change and they need to get rid of the property. And if you're the right person on the right day with the right deal, yes, you'll get quite a considerable amount off that. We just got a property under negotiation that I've got to deal with the building and pest this afternoon. They wanted 1.15 for it. We've got it under for 975. Now, on the other hand, the property that I was just talking about before, we put an offer on at 125 and it sounds like it's going to contract today at 137. So someone else is really willing to pay a lot for it, and I just don't see that value. You've got to stay on top of the local market and know what has gone through. The problem is a lot of people rely on the software, and the software is great for 30 to 60-day-old data. Because at the end of the day, the data only comes through once the property goes unconditional. So the more you can transact in an area and the more you can know what's going on, the quicker you will know, obviously, what that particular market's doing. And there is obviously markets within markets. The Gold Coast is not one market. There are very different price points here, from $1 million to $30 million. So that's where, when you're away and a bit more remote, it's hard to, I suppose, be in touch with that. And it's a matter of how many homes you're going through and how many agents you know well. If you know agents well, they'll tell you what they've got something under contract for before it's unconditional or before it's even on the market, like on the market info. If you don't, that's where it's a little bit harder.
Yep. Okay. Yep. No, that confirms like what I was thinking.
Melody,
Can I also
can
ask?
I add to that if that's okay? That's a great question, by the way, because obviously, the difference to where we are now to where we were a couple of months ago, the fundamentals of the offer and the negotiation, it doesn't really shift. Like, for me personally, there are two sides of the table, and Darren mentioned it there as well. It's like you've got the data offer, whereas, the comparables and the properties in the last 3 months indicates that the property should sell here. And a lot of people lead with that because I was like, oh, the property down the road sold for 700. So this one's probably going to sit somewhere between 690 and 710. So my offer's going to be 670, whatever it's going to be. But most people lead their offer with the data. The most important thing we have to understand is the situation. And as Darren alluded to, is every deal and every seller is going to be different. We need to uncover as much information as we possibly can about, like, and this is the same wherever we buy, whether it be Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, that the fundamentals of where the offer starts is exactly the same. So, for example, if the data suggests that this property should sit around 700, but we uncover information from the selling agent and it's been on the market for 6 weeks and the highest offer they've had on the table was 610, then we're not going to offer 700. So the situation is the most important thing of where that offer is going to come in. And the only way that we can uncover the situation in any property is just by questions. Questions, questions, questions. That is going to give us an indication of where we need to start the offer at. So yeah, we've got between data and situation, but situation is the most important thing. Like a couple of months ago, we would be looking at the data and saying, hey, like this property sits around 1 million because of the comparable sales. And then we're having a conversation with the agent, and the agent is saying, hey, well, we run an open home on the weekend. We had 30 people coming through the property. We've got 3 offers sitting on the table. All 3 of them are above 1 million. Well, then that's a conversation that we need to have with our buyers and say, hey, this one's probably going to, because of the competition, this one's probably going to go above fair market value. With the market moving like this, obviously the next price is going to, this is going to benchmark the next one and it's going to keep rising. So we have a decision to make. Are we going to compete with these people that are above 1 million, or are we going to sit and wait for the next one? In a rising market, most people will say, hey, we've got to put our best foot in the ring. Now the tables have turned and it's the other way. So it's important now to really ask those questions and uncover the situation, uncover the motivation of where the sellers are at, how long the property's been on the market, what was the highest offer that they've rejected on the property. Uncovering situation is going to give you a really good indication of where to start that offer.
And
And
you need
also,
to remember with all offers, price is not always the motivator for a lot of people.
Correct.
If they bought the house 20 years ago and it's the first time they're moving, a 90-day settlement might be important to them over the top price.
So again, it's about uncovering as much information and the situation as we possibly can, not relying on what RP data says or what the data says. It's all about uncovering the situation. Sellers' motivation, like where are they? Do they want to move? Do they not want to move? How many people have they had through the property? How many building impressions have gone out? Like when was the last time you had somebody show interest in this property? And what's the highest offer you've rejected on the home? Like 9 times out of 10, I used to get that information out of agents because the offer's passed and it's already gone. And they're not going to want to lose a good buyer.
it's also asking the client, what do they think? Where do they see value as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Can I ask a second question?
no,
You just have.
of course you can. Go for it.
So I find it harder to convert on the rocks. There's not the same pressure. There's not the same fear of missing out. They see that there's not enough competition. They can take the time, but at the same time, on the rocks are the ones that's there, right? How do you manage that?
Do you mean bringing them on board as a client, or do you
Yeah.
mean converting them to sign a contract on the sale?
No, converting like becoming a client.
Darren's probably the best one for that. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. So when you're talking with them, you've got to remember the pain points and the focus generally for an investor are very different for the emotional and the stress and the personal reasons for a home buyer. And that's where most of the agencies that have done well have picked one or the other. And the reason they pick one or the other is so the messaging and the consistent marketing and the sales is the same. Because having a talk to a home buyer, and I've got home buyers that we've had through the books that have overpaid for the property because they do not care in 10 or 20 years' time that they paid 20 or 30 grand too much. It was the absolute perfect home for their family. And it was an emotional purchase, and they didn't want to miss out once we found the right property for them. 20, 30 grand on a 1.5 million or whatever is not a big deal. But when you're talking to an investor, the numbers might not work at that. So what you need to do is when you're talking with them, you need to unpack what is actually their problem and what is actually stressing them and why they need help. At the end of the day, convincing a home buyer that they need help because they can't find an investment on numbers and all those sorts of things is never going to work. It's the pain point of what they have. Like I've literally had buyers that have signed on with me because they like the fact that a real estate agent never gets their information that they can ever be put on a database and contacted to. That is part of my pitches of dealing with homeowners. When we go to an open home, I hand out my business card and yada, 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 and I brief them. If the agent starts asking them awkward questions, I will get between them and the agent and stop it. And they're like, yep, that's what we want. We hate real estate agents, don't want to deal with one. Send me the contract, I'll sign on. Their pain point was they hate the pressure of dealing with being sold to. That's what you need to unpack when you're dealing with a homeowner. You need to know their why.
That's a
You
good
need
point.
to know what's really hurting them and what they don't like in the process. And then you offer the things that they need and that you're helping them with that they don't want to deal with themselves.
and then solve it for them. That's
and
gold.
solve it for them. Very, very different than an investor that is pretty much going to be numbers focused.
Does that help, Melody?
And I'm just thinking of the person I have in mind, like referred to me by a real estate agent, completely doesn't know what a buyer's agent do, but like definitely need help. But yeah, and then she was asking me price, and I was like, tell me first if you feel like you need this service. After I explain everything to you, tell me why, and then we can, progress the conversation. But like, yeah, it's
Have you worked with
an
home buyers?
Sorry.
Have you worked with many home buyers?
Yeah.
Do you
But I
enjoy
feel like
doing them or
with the
invest?
I just feel like this current climate, like they don't feel like they can negotiate themselves. They don't feel pressured. So it's not the same pain points. Like we're not seen as game changing as we used to be.
That's a good point, actually, because obviously, like, the home buyer 2 months ago was coming to a buyer's agent because they were missing out on multiple properties. They were wasting their weekends going to open homes. The market was rising. Like, the urgency
It's
to
dropped.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. The urgency of why people use a buyer's agent specifically for owner occupiers has disappeared. So yeah, it's about like, as Darren mentioned, obviously, what is their pain point and understanding why they have reached out and why they have come to you. But it's as well as demonstrating your value when you say, like, oh, they can negotiate themselves, but can they negotiate to the standard that you can negotiate? Can they go to open homes themselves? Yes, but can they ask the right questions that you're able to ask? And it's about demonstrating your value, because yes, obviously a buyer came to a buyer's agent last year where all the buyer's agent really needs to do was have a relationship with a few agents in the area and provide some off-market properties. But now the owner occupier is being really astute, and they're really looking for people who, how can you add value to my journey that I can't do myself? And I think it's a very good question that a lot of buyers are asking themselves at the moment when they're engaging with buyers agencies. Like, how are you able to add value to my journey that I'm not able to do myself? So we really have to come up with those list of things, like when we are speaking with owner occupiers and saying, my value lies in X, Y, and Z. My value lies in the relationships with the agents. My value lies in my negotiation skills. My value lies in whatever it is your value lies, because then if you know those objections are going to come up through your own occupier phone calls, you've got the answer. I can negotiate myself. Yes, but we've just, like, having a list of where my value lies now in this new market, because yeah, when those objections come up again, we're able to move quickly and answer those objections, because yes, that is a very common question that's coming up now. How are you going to be able to add value to my journey that I can't do myself?
And with that, Mel, it's again highlighting the pain point. If that come up for me, it's a very simple straight away, and you need to let them speak with it, is, oh, well, I think we can do the negotiations. I've literally brought hundreds of properties in the last couple of years, and I'm not emotionally tied to this property. Do you honestly believe you and your family that is emotionally tied to this property can negotiate 2% better than I can?
Thing
And
is,
just
that
stay quiet?
they'll always say yes, because they're
No,
always
a lot of them don't.
overconfident.
No, I find a lot of them don't. If you stay quiet and let them answer, a lot of them won't. And if they do, they'll generally have towels. They'll have a smile. They'll have a thing. And you can go, you realize you just did this. If you are very, very good at sales, you will pick up people's body language and things like that, and you'll point out to them. I've done it in sales calls before I've even signed people up. You've got this towel. I know you're going to sign up with me today because I've already worked it out. And they go, oh, what? But now, if I've worked that out just in this conversation, what do you think a good sales agent will do when you're purchasing the house? And if they're that sort of thing, and if they get through all of that and they're really confident, just say no and walk away, because you don't want them as a client. They're going to be an absolute pain in the ass. So just remember, you're not going to sign every client, because there are people out there that think they know better than you, and they're
Correct.
generally clients you don't want.
I normally tell clients when they're saying that, it's like, well, every time you speak to an agent, you're costing yourself 20 grand, and they sort of shut up after that.
That's a good point, Paul.
And also, getting back to the price, it's like, well, a buyer might be able to negotiate 20 grand off, but you might be able to negotiate 50 grand off. And also, you're saving them from buying a dud property, because I think, yeah, you got to have the right property at the right price at the right time. And just because it's a discount doesn't mean it's a good property.
No,
Correct.
and I've found most of my clients, the price of the property is not the issue. That is not the pain point. It's dealing with the negotiations. It's having a building inspector they trust. It's having a lawyer they trust. For a lot of mine being international clients, it's having someone that actually understands the rules and the systems. If one of my clients gets a purchase wrong, the tax penalties can be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That alone is enough for them to go, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, again, it's about knowing your value.
Yep.
Like knowing what you bring to the table. I bring an expert team. I bring and being able to, I think it comes down to that really, like knowing what value you bring to the table as opposed to them doing it themselves. It might be negotiation. It might be the team that you have around you, whatever it is. Yeah. Has that helped, Mel?
Yeah. I'm just thinking of that person, and I think I'm just gonna not go. We can't sign everybody. She doesn't have enough pain point to be signed. So I'll
Whereabouts
just
is
make
she
my peace.
based?
I'm in eastern suburbs.
And
Sydney.
she's trying to buy in the eastern suburbs?
Yeah, just next to me.
Okay.
But like
And
cash
then
buying, she's a data analyst. She follows the market. She knows exactly what she wants. She's not in an urgent like situation. She can wait. So, gotta have to make peace with that.
I would put her in the third pile. Good for a referral partner that's happy to pay you for getting the lead, that wants the lead that you don't. So there is nothing wrong with having a network of people you can refer work out to that you don't want. And that can even be work that you would be in your own system, but you can just say to them, I'm too busy, I can't fit it in, whatever. But if someone else can make it work, pass it to someone else and carry on.
But as well, just because you can't make it work now doesn't mean you're not going to be able to make this particular client work in 3 months. So that's somebody that you add to your pipeline because whatever her pain point is, if she's not able to buy, like it's not always it's just a no for today. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
a no for next week.
Which
Yeah,
is
I'll just nurture her, I think.
a very
we'll see.
important part of your process should be anyone that says no today, in 60 days, send them an email just saying, hey, how you going? Just checking if you bought a property.
Yeah.
And if they say no, your next instant thing is, well, most people close on a property within 60 days. Why haven't you brought one?
Yeah.
Mm.
And let them explain why they haven't, because obviously they've generally got something wrong. A, they're looking for a unicorn, so B, you don't want them, or they're having problems that you can fix.
A lot of the time that a lot of buyers agents won't come to the realization themselves is that it's their brief. So you can even do an audit on their brief and say, hey, what is it you're looking for? All I need is a suburb, your budget and the asset. And they're going to say, well, we're looking for I had a client bring me her brief once before in this exact situation. And funnily enough, it was the northern beaches of Sydney. But she said, we're looking for a house at 1.4 and it's got to be 3 bedrooms with a garden for my kids. And I said,
Good luck.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't exist anymore. And she spent literally 8 months trying to find this unicorn that didn't exist. And it was just a case of, bringing her realization towards her brief and it not existing. I did bring her on as a client because that was her problem. She didn't know how to put a brief together. So when we unpacked it and sat down with her, I said, look, we have to compromise on somewhere. We either have to speak to our broker and get more money, or we've got to look at a smaller asset, or we've got to look in a different location. So we worked with her. Yes, it took a little bit more time. It was a little bit more patience that we had to put into her. But as Darren said, like in 60 days, like they haven't bought a property for a reason. And I do find a lot of the time it just comes down to like their brief for not really understanding how that works.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks so
welcome,
much.
Darren. I'm very, very cautious. I know you had to hop off, but Cameron did have his hand up. Are you all good, mate?
Yeah, no, I was just
I don't need to hop off because I've rescheduled what I was going to do. So
Awesome.
if you're good to carry on, I'm good to carry on.
Two things. Melody, you referred me a great client before, so you can do that again. You don't want anybody. I'm actually catching up with Michelle after this. Also, I had a client, and I'm working with her right now, and she was like, Cameron, I just don't see the value in what you provide. After
This is going back to the last conversation. Yeah.
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 So
Cool.
it was, and I said, look, that's fine. I totally understand. 3 weeks later, a month later, I reached out to her and I said, hey, how's it going with your property search? Now, the brief she gave me was completely opposite to where she was now. So she was up in Kuranda, and like houses out there aren't always ideal. And I said, look, how about I just negotiate for you? And she was stoked with that. And after that, the conversation, we got the house, ended up having to cut the contract, but we got the house and she goes, I love buyer's agents now. Like, so she's had a taste of it. She knows exactly what we can do. And, and then we've gone in and negotiated another property for her. I've just had her under a negotiation only, and she saw the value in that. But it's just, it's one of those things that just get a different taste of what else we can do than the whole process. And away we go.
That's a great point, mate. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. All right. How is everyone feeling? Good?
Cool.
We've cut our viewers down to about half, but that's all good. Yeah, I think we can call it at that if no one else
Last
is up.
question. What software are we all using for AML?
Next question.
That's very subjective. That is very subjective.
Hey, Jace.
Hey,
Why'd you
Yeah.
say that?
well, I just got back from deep diving via a submersible in the Atlantic Ocean for AML, and there are so many providers out there with so many niches with what they provide and what they don't provide, and then the money they charge is absolutely insane. Now, what works for my business may not work for Darren's because of size, the amount of work he wants to put in, who does this stuff. It's really important that you sign up, like you look at the AML providers, look at their websites, get a trial with them, like a 1 hour call with them, find out what they provide, what they don't provide. And if they don't provide something you want or need, i.e., the company risk assessment or the policies and procedures, if your AML provider doesn't provide that, you need to weigh up, is this AML solution right for me, for the right price, right features? And all I have to do is do my risk assessment and my policies. Or do you want a completely done for you process where they do everything and you pay a little bit more of a premium for that? So it's very, very
It's subjective.
individualized to how you want to do your business.
Yeah. Do your research and ask questions.
Like, yes. But like, have you read the starter kit yet?
Yeah, no, I've enrolled already soon with the provider. I'm just wondering what does that do?
Mm.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap it up?
Thanks so much for organizing this.
Guys, I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much, Darren, for jumping in, and Paul and Cameron as well. So Junior there as well. Awesome value, guys. Mate, appreciate you jumping in, Junior. I hope you got some value from it. Yeah. All right, guys, let's leave it there. You're welcome, Shree. Let's leave it there, and we'll organise the next one in July, and we'll see what sort of topics and what crazy stuff the market drops for us in the next month.
Cool. Thank you.
Nothing
See you
left.
guys. Appreciate it.
You bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.